The first step in working with Git is to make sure that you have it downloaded. So you can feel free to go to git-scm.com and download the version and install it on your computer. It works for Windows, Mac, and Linux. You can also Google Git and it should land you to this page right here. One of the most basic things about Git is learning how to upload your code, and we'll be doing that today. I'm going to create a small website in my computer, my local computer here, and I will upload it to my GitHub account. If you don't have one, you can go to github.com, create an account, and follow along. So I'm in my local hard drive here. I'm just going to create a folder, call it my website, and I'm going to open a terminal in that folder. Let me open that up so you can see the files that we're going to create, and I'm just going to create a sample index.html file. Okay, there we go. Let's click on it, test that it works. Great. Now, the next thing is initializing a Git repository. So we need some way of setting up Git inside of this folder so that it can track our files. And we do that via a command called git init. We see some feedback here, an initialized empty Git repository in the specified drive. Alright. Now the next step is to stage the files that we have here. We do that by using the following command: git add period. Now the period means all. It takes all of the files that we have here and it stages them. Staging is just think of it as a temporary place that you can go on to further commit the files that you have changed. You can also type in the name of the file like this if you have multiple files and you only want to commit one of them or upload one of them. In this case, I only have one file, so it doesn't really matter. I can just go with all. Now our files are staged, and we can check that by doing Git Status. We have a message, changes to be committed, and this is our file, index.html. Also gives us some other metadata, like we are in the master branch and we don't have any commits yet. The next step is to actually commit this file, and to do that we're going to issue the command git commit and pass it a commit message. -m stands for message. We're going to pass it a message saying what we've done. This is a good idea, good practice to get into so that other developers that are working on your code can follow along and see what changes have been done. Or if you come back to it a couple months from now, you know what you've done and what you have committed. So we're going to click enter and issue that command. Now we get one file changed, one insertion, index.html. Great. Now it's time to create our remote repository. So for now, we are all done with the local part. Okay, now let's go to our profile, and we're going to create a new repository. We're going to name it my website. It can be anything really. Going to leave it as public, and you can choose to add a git ignore file. In a real application you probably want to do this, but it doesn't matter for ours, it's just a demo. And we're going to click create repository. We have some help code here that GitHub gives us. Now we've already done this part, so what we need to do is follow this part, these two statements here or here. They're the same. So just to remind you, we created an index.html file. This sample here says readme, but it's really doesn't matter. It can be any file. Then we did a git init, and then we added git add, staged the files. We did a commit, put in our commit message, and now it's time for this. So we're going to copy that, and we'll just simply paste it. You can always type it out, of course. What this does, git remote add origin, is adds the remote repository, which is the one that we just created, and it takes this URL. This is the URL to it, and it's going to connect it to our local repository or local changes. So we issue that command. Now if you haven't logged into GitHub previously, it will probably ask you to log in. Since I've already logged in, it didn't ask me. If it does ask you to log in, then do so. The next step is to push our code and see the changes. So we just copy this command, git push u origin master. So what that does is it's going to actually do the final step, and it's going to push, or basically transport, if you want to call it that, this file to GitHub. So we're going to issue that command right now. Alright, and it was successful, and let's test it out. We refresh the page, and then we see our file. It is up and running on the internet, on GitHub. Okay, now the next thing that I want to show you is how to create a branch and how to merge that branch back onto the master. Create a branch, make some changes to that branch, and merge that branch onto the master. So if you're not familiar, GitHub works on the basis of branches. You have a master branch by default. That's your starting branch. This is all of the final state of the code, and it's best practice that you don't use or that you don't work off of the master, meaning you don't make changes directly to the master, and you can actually lock that down into the settings. So for our purposes, we won't do that for now, so we'll just create another branch. Usually it's called a feature branch, so we'll just put in a name here, and I'm going to call it add styling, and press enter, and whoops, we have a add styling branch. Now back in our local repository, if you do git status, it says your branch is up to date, but we know that's not true because we just created another branch. So to do that, we check, we want to pull in the branch that we just created. And we want to just first of all check to see which branches we're currently working on, and in this case it's the master. And the way to pull in or updates is git fetch commands fetches the new branch that was added, fetches updates. And now if we do git checkout, this checks out the branch that we just created on the remote. And now if we do git branch, we can see that we are now on the add styling branch, because this has a little asterisk here, and then it's also highlighted in green. And the way we did that again is using git checkout -b for branch command, followed by the branch name. Okay, so this is how you can switch between back and forth branches. So I just want to show you. I'll switch back to the master. I'm sorry. Actually, -b is only used if you're creating a new branch. Okay, now we're back into the master. And let's switch back to the add styling branch. Now we're back into the add styling. Great. So now let's add a file here. Let's put in a okay. Now this is a invalid CSS file, but it doesn't matter for our purposes. We just need that. We're not going to be putting any content in it. We just want to commit it. So we do the same thing. We can use the Git Status command to see where we are in the process and see any untracked files. You can see that the styles.css shows up, that it's untracked. So now we want to do the same process. We're going to do git add all or styles.css. Since we did the period last time, let's do styles.css this time. Let's do git status again. Double check that everything is good. Okay. Changes to be committed. Now we've staged this file. So let's do a commit, which is really like a save as. Oops, my mistake. I'm just going to put in a quick message there. And again, we're using the git commit -m command. Okay, and now if you can see, so we need to switch over the master or the add styling branch, and then we'll see the styles.css file. Alright, and that's how you upload code to GitHub, as well as create branches and upload code to different branches. Now the next thing that I want to show you is how to merge this branch into the master. Like I said previously, the branch should always, or the master should always be the final copy or the final version, the most up-to-date version of the code. Now GitHub helps us out here, and it gives us an option to compare and pull request. The way that you merge branches to the master is by using pull requests, and it's a best practice to get into. Like I said, instead of just committing straight to the master. So we'll just open up a pull request here, and what that will do is give us the change that we're going to make and the option to leave some comments. It's a good practice to get into, and it's going to tell us that we're going to merge the changes from the add styling branch over to the master. If you had multiple branches here, they would also show up. Going to create the pull request by clicking the button here. Now GitHub automatically checks to see if there's any conflicts and lets us know that this branch has no conflicts with the base branch, so it's ready to merge. So I'm just going to click and confirm. Now the pull request is successfully merged and closed. It also gives me the option to delete the branch, delete the add styling branch, that is. It's good practice to do this so that you can keep your Git branches clean. So whenever you're done with a feature, you've already merged that branch, you can delete it. So now if we go back to the code, if we look at master, we'll see our styles.css file. And of course we've deleted the add styling branch, so it's not there anymore. And this is how you merge branches to the master. Now the next thing that I want to show you is how you can download code from GitHub onto your local computer and work on it. So we already have this repository here, but we're going to go away from it and we're going to create a brand new folder actually. Going to name it something, it doesn't really matter. And I'm going to go in it, and of course there's nothing in there, but you can imagine that we're on a brand new computer and we want to check out this repository. The way we do that is we go over here on the right where it says code. We're going to look for this option, clone with HTTPS. I'm going to copy this link by clicking this little button here, or you can highlight it and copy it manually. And I'm going to let me close this terminal. Let me open another terminal here, and we're going to do the command git clone. What this command does is it clones this repository into using this address for the repository into our local computer. So git clone and then the name, or not the name, but the address of the repository. Okay, we're going to press enter, and now you see we have the exact same files and repository that is here. Great. Now we've learned how we can download code from GitHub and start working on it. Now I'm going to check out my branches here. Oh, I'm getting an error here because I did something silly. I'm still in this folder here, and I'm not actually inside of the repository. So let's go in it. Okay. All right. So now we have master branch. So let's make a change again and repeat the same process. So we're going to go here. Actually, let's actually create a branch locally, and then we can push it up to the remote. So we do that by issuing the command git branch -b. We'll just do that second time. Okay. I'm sorry, I put in the wrong command. It's actually git checkout -b. There we go. Alright, so now we've created a local branch, and of course this branch is not on the remote repository because we still haven't pushed it up. Okay. Now let's make a change here. So I'm just going to open this. File here, and we're just going to save that. Now we're going to let's do a git stat. You don't have to do a git status, by the way. This is just to see, double check that we have the changes that are not staged. They're ready for committing. It's a good way to sort of orient yourself. I find that I do it often just to double check that files what I'm going to be committing are the ones that I modified. So now let's do the same thing again. Let's go and stage the changes. Okay. Let's double check. All right, great. Changes to be committed. Green is good. My second commit. Again, we did the git commit message and putting the message here. Now we're going to git push, but this time it will actually tell us that we haven't set the upstream or the upstream origin, and that we need to do that. So we're going to copy this, paste it, great. Branch second time, set up to track remote branch second time from origin. Alright, now if we go back to our website, we see the second time branch. So what we did this time is we didn't create the branch from here like so. We actually created it from our local repository, and then we pushed it up. Previously what we did is we created it here, and then we pushed it down to our local repository to work on it. So let's create a pull request again and do the same thing, merge it to the master. So again, we have master, we have the second time branch. This is the change that we're going to be putting in. Click on create pull request. Great, has no conflicts with the base branch. Going to merge pull request, confirm it. And this time I'm not going to delete the branch, just so you can see. Here's the branch. If we open up the indexed HTML, we can see our change that we just made. Now we can go back and we can optionally delete this branch in the settings. Alright, so we've learned how to pull down code from GitHub, make a change, create branches, merge those branches, and check out code and create branches.